Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Game 2 of this draft analysis series between Navi and Mouse from the Air National Group stage. I think this is Group A, I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure it is actually Group A. But this is Game 2 between Navi and Mouse. If you haven't watched the last game or the last draft, then you saw both the drafts had their strengths and weaknesses, but Navi was able to execute a bit better. This game, Navi as the first pick. They picked up the Alchemist. They got rid of the Visage as well as the Lifesteal. Milan Mouse responded as standardly as you can possibly get. Wisp as well as Barretter. So Navi this time, they wanted to make sure they could get the Alchemist for sure. That's pretty much what it came down to with the opening bans, right?
Yeah, and Nyx is pretty awesome against Alchemist, and Visage is pretty awesome always, so makes a whole lot of sense.
So Mouse's response was Chen as well as Dragonite. So why do you think we're seeing so much Chen lately? Just because I don't know. He's a very strong hero, but he does limit your game plan potential, and he does work well with Dragonite, who has become very, very trendy lately. But why do you think we're seeing so much Chen recently?
It's a really good question. I think it's the resurgence of safe lane carries. Not safe lane carries in the sense that, oh, well, we have a safe lane and they have a safe lane. It's when you know that you're not going to get... Okay, when another team picks up a safe lane carry that you know is going to have friends with it, has to have friends with it because it can't 1v1, i.e. Alchemist, Gyrocopter, Spectre, stuff like that, you can pick up a Chen because you know both teams are going to go safe lane. Neither one's going to try to challenge the enemy tri lane. And if you know that they're safe lane, then you pick up a Chen immediately who's like the greediest support you can possibly get. Like, he's not even a support. He farms so much, and he doesn't do a whole lot early. But then once the mid game rolls around, it's really hard to deal with, and he does way more than like a Lina would or something, you know? So the fact that you know you're not getting challenged means that you can go for a greedier support like that.
And Dragonite obviously has good synergy because he pushes, and also when it comes down to mid game, Dragonite can just absorb so much damage, and then Chen, if he's still alive, then he can just say, alright, Dragonite, go back home, and then all that damage is pretty much essentially lost, but then Dragonite's impact has been lessened. So right now, it's pretty clear to at least both of us, both teams, at least with the initial choices, are planning to go with the very standard safe lane, tri lane, or safe lane, dual lane with the jungler, standard mid, standard off lanes, things of that nature. Do you think that's a good assumption to make?
That's fairly safe to say. Now, when we say, oh, well, this person's doing this, it's never locked in a draft. You can always do weird stuff. I've seen Dendy do Alchemist mid before, but...
I mean, yeah, we just talked about LG and putting Alchemist mid.
Yeah. I mean, that's LGD int, though. They do it. Like, even Navi will run an Alchemist mid or Alchemist support, but it's probably a farming Alchemist. So, that said, we're probably good to go.
Yep, so we're going to unpause in 3, 2, 1, unpause. I mean, this draft is something that we're very well used to, because we've casted this many, many times before. So now we get rid of the Gyrocopter, and this has nothing to do with draft, but it's just interesting to me that they've just found their one true love, Alchemist instead of Gyro. Probably because Alchemist can be a bit more aggressive, because he can just dive in, and he has more HP. But anyways, aside from that, Mouse, they need a safe lane farmer. They don't have access into the Lifesteal. Now they don't have access into the Gyrocopter. So they're really limiting Black's farm potential. And even though I don't know if Anti-Mage would have been a necessarily good pick here, it wouldn't be too surprising if Navi banned out a hero similar to that, just because Black is going to have free farm, and Black is just made a reputation for himself for being a carry that you can't get free farm, because he will punish you.
Well, you got issues if you pick AM. Doesn't work so hot against Alchemist. Pretty bad against Darks here. You already have a Dragonite, and there's like so much anti-synergy with Dragonite and AM because Dragonite kind of wants farm, and he just is kind of group up and push, and Anti-Mage is kind of the opposite of that. And Chen isn't really a support that works well with AM at all. Like the whole group up and push thing. I don't think that they'll pick up AM this game unless they have to. Navi's getting rid of that Weaver because they don't want to have to deal with that either in the safe lane or like a slippery off lane.
Fair enough. And meanwhile, Mouse, obviously, they're protecting the Dragonite, which again makes a ton of sense. OD versus Dragonite. Kind of a not so good matchup. And it's just interesting to me, at least in the games that we've analyzed. I know there have been many other games where it's happened. No Treant ban or pick. Maybe they just don't like being so defensive in nature.
IG loves it. They're picking in every game with OD.
With LGD?
IG.
Oh, yeah, IG does love it. So I guess it just depends on teams. But more so as we move on to the tournament, I'm guessing we're seeing a lot more Tree. But Mouse, obviously with these bans, I mean, this is just pretty obvious for anybody to make. They're protecting mid. They want to protect mid. They're going to get the Rubik here. Now, Rubik in the last game was a really, really strong option. In this game, he's still very good against Darkseer. He's pretty solid against Alchemist. But also in this game, he can't really be punished as hard because you know for sure Navi are going to run a defensive Tron. At least you can guess that for the most part. And Rubik is a hero who, if he gets levels, he can become very powerful. So, again, Rubik might not have that many good spells steal compared to game 1, but he's alright. The question is, where's the early game damage going to come from?
Yeah, Mouse Esports has 3 heroes who have very little early game damage, and Navi's got 2 ones who have kind of a lot. So, I mean, Havos almost always just rushes Shadowblade and runs around and kills people. And Phonic always tries to get stuff done. And here we're going to see that pretty iconic Navi Darkseer Jakiro combo.
Yeah,
They're so good at it. They really are.
Yeah, Navi, Dignitas are probably the 2 teams that jump off, but Navi really known for their Darkseer Jakiro. I mean, it's such a strong team fight combination. Also, I feel like Jakiro fills a couple niches here because he has a lot of range and he has strong anti-push. And also, he's pretty tanky, he's pretty reliable. And having a tanky support against the low damage threshold of Mouse, I think will just make it even more effective. Especially if you have something like a Surge to back you up. Then how would they actually kill this Jakiro? I mean, obviously Jakiro's slow, but he can just do a lot in these team fights that I feel like a Mouse, they need to do something with their damage potential. And they're going to pick up Tinker, which does not solve it whatsoever. So what's the rationale behind Tinker pick? We'll just pause it right here, because the pick submits are just flying through, and this is a draft analysis spot, so we should just analyze the draft. So, Tinker.
Mouse is now completely locked into their style of what they want to do. 100% locked in. It's going to be Rubik Tinker in the safe lane. Tinker rushes BOT, of course. Dragon Knight mid, Chen in the forest, and they're going to get an offlaner. Probably. I mean, anything can happen.
Well, I have seen Mouse run Quake with Tinker.
Yeah, and they run him Quake with Tinker, and he plays safe lane Tinker.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be a thing. And Navi, on the other hand, probably have a tri-lane. They could aggressive tri-lane against Tinker, but it's hard because there's so much March. I think that it would be wiser not to. But Nyx is obviously really good against Tinker to begin with, right? He just kind of finds him in a lane and murders him. He's pretty decent against Chen in the same respect. So that's, I think it's a pretty solid pickup. And look at the amount of stun that's coming out from Navi. They have 4 heroes with hard, or 3 with hard lockdown, AoE hard lockdown, and a Darkseer.
I mean, that's just a dream come true.
Yeah.
Because vacuum into Alchemist stun, vacuum into Ice Path, and vacuum into Impale. It's ridiculous how much that locks you down.
Here's Mouse Sports' problem. This is like the biggest problem, and I actually feel like I can say it because I identified it when I was watching this game live. Whatever Navi puts mid, Mouse Sports can do nothing about. Dragon Knight's a weak mid, and Navi can put a strong mid against him, just dominate him. Rubik can't gank him, Chen can't gank him. I mean, maybe they'll gank him once, and then that's not a big deal. And Tinker's just sitting in his lane farming, right? And you're going to have an offlaner, and that's when it hit me. Shadow Fiend. Navi loves to run Shadow Fiend. It works with Darkseer great because they get a Blink Dagger on Dendi. Dendi's a great Shadow Fiend. He's going to slam Dragon Knight mid hardcore. Like, Dragon Knight will get nothing. You can't gank him because it's a Rubik and Chen, and Tinker doesn't do anything against Shadow Fiend to begin with. This is, at this point, I said, I bet they're going to pick up Shadow Fiend, and I bet if they do, the game's over. So.
A little bit of, I'm the best coming out from SK right here.
Well, no, it's not an exaggeration. What do they do against it? Look at their lineup. How do they deal with the Shadow Fiend?
Alright, we'll just unpause right here, because might as well just keep going. Whatever, 3, 2, 1 on pause. 47, 48, same thing. So, if they do pick up a greedy mid, what is stopping people from doing what Orange like to do, or what LGN like to do, which is rotate with their jungler, or rotate with, their supports, and smoke gank the Shadow Fiend, or smoke gank another greedy mid of that nature? What's stopping them?
Tinker needs help on the safe lane. He can't deal with Darkseer by himself. He needs someone with him. And Chen is not a good ganker mid. It's not like Enchantress. You can get 1, maybe 2 ganks off maximum. And even if they get Shadow Fiend once or twice, it doesn't matter because he can come back so fast. It's not like there's a Quap or a Puck in the game who's going to run around chain killing him if he gets behind. It's a Dragon Knight. Who cares? You just go farm more. You go to the jungle. If they're missing off the map, whatever, Rubik's not there and he's obviously not pulling, Phonic will let you know. You go to the jungle. You're on the Radiant side. I mean, even if they kill him, I bet even if they kill him 3 times in the early game, 3 times in the first 10 minutes, it doesn't matter because he's going to get, I'm going to say that he's going to get about 200 CS by 20 minutes this game. Easy.
Well, Mouse, they got rid of the Storm, so obviously they fear a mid, a greedy mid in some nature. They
Yeah,
got rid of the
that's fair
Anti-Mage,
thinking.
I guess
Well,
they,
Storm's great against Tinker too. It just hardcore
yeah,
is amazing against that hero.
it's, yeah, pretty ridiculous. I mean, we saw it versus fucking Quantic, but I mean, that's a different matter entirely. And Navi got rid of the Anti-Mage, saying, Black, no Anti-Mage, please. Because they think, alright, they could
You
put
can run Tinker
Koikwa.
offlane and Dragon Knight
Yeah,
mid, and
yeah, they could
yeah.
put Koikwa Tinker off lane. Or they could put Koikwa Tinker mm,
5 seconds
mid, who cares? You
remaining.
can put him anywhere. The question is, how fast can you get it? As Navi taking their time. Right now, it's pretty clear Navi, they're going to get a mid. As Mouse pick up the lone druid here.
Navi's turn to pick.
So right now, this is just... What is this
Mouse
line designed
Esports
to
has
do?
got issues. They got Shadow Fiend problems.
What is
Shadow-
Mouse's lineup supposed to do other than...
Look at it. It's amazing at tower sieging. You have March, you have missiles, you have the Syllabear, you have Dragon Form, and you have Chen. Look at how good that is destroying towers. It's amazing.
It is.
Can't ask for a better lineup at sieging towers. That's like the best you can. Maybe replace Rubik with Coddle. That's it.
Or Pugna.
Yeah. I know where your mind is, but it kicks ass at sieging towers. It really does. It does not kick ass at ganking a Shadow Fiend mid, and it also is pretty bad at dealing with that Alchemist. Havos is okay. So here's the deal. Havos normally gets Shadow Blade up on Alchemist and just starts going ham. He's gonna run around the map trying to kill people. It's just what he does, and then he's gonna farm. You're gonna have that double minus armor combo, which is gonna be awesome against the DK. It's gonna be awesome against the Lone Druid, right?
Yep.
And I guarantee Danny's gonna go for a Blink Dagger this game because he always does. Because when they pick it with the Darkseer, and both the heroes build Blink Dagger, and then you got team fight problems. So even though Mouse is really amazing at sieging towers, you get a Blink Dagger and both your heroes up pretty fast. I'm guessing Dendy's BKB timing, should he rush it, should come out at like anywhere between 12 to 15. And Dagger should follow a couple minutes after. But normally he does it in reverse. It depends on how much he gets ganked. But even then, so even if he gets Blink BKB and hasn't got a lot of right click, he can farm faster than like any two people on Mouse combined. You just can. Shadow Fiend farms so fast, so does Alk. If Mouse doesn't group up and take down all of the towers, they're going to have huge issues to try and deal with the Shadow Fiend. And even if they do that, Shadow Fiend's going to be on the other side of the map just pushing and farming, and then he's going to have like a butterfly and a manta, and you have nothing.
Yeah, and there's also another problem with Mouse. Yeah, like I mentioned, you can gank the Shadow Fiend with Rubik and Chen with a smoke, but Chen is a hero who needs levels, which is why he said he needs to go back in the jungle. He can only gank like once or twice, because an under-level Chen, especially against like some Nyx and Darkseer and a fast farming Alk, is gonna be literally like the worst thing ever. So Chen will need to go back in the jungle. But even then, if you do manage to get successful ganks off in Shadow Fiend, he'll just take some time to farm up. Alchemist farms just so quickly that he'll be able to get his Shadow Blade on lockdown, like you mentioned, go kill people while Deadly freezes up and just gets his farm going. And Mouse, their only defense comes from really Tinker, March, and Bear pulling the creeps, and Chen coming in with his own creeps. They can't really fight Navi unless they get into like a really, really strong position. Or unless they get Dragon Knight free farm, which is not going to happen against Shadow Fiend unless Shadow Fiend gets ganked 5 times. So Mouse's early game potential is bad. To put
Navi's
it
also.
bluntly.
I mean, both teams have fallback options. Like if SF has a terrible game or whatever, you still got Alk, right? And on the other hand, you have 3 carries on Mouse. Like someone's going to have stuff. But I honestly think that this game was won in the draft with the Shadow Fiend pickup. It was fine. Both teams were doing fine, and the draft looked pretty even. And then Navi just identified a crucial weakness with Mouse, and it's that they cannot gank mid. And they took advantage of it.
Well, they can't gank mid, but they can't get away with it, I guess.
Yeah, that's... If they do it, there are huge, massive trade-offs.
Yep, so Navi, I think they did get ganked mid once or twice. I didn't actually watch this
He got
game.
ganked, I think, 2 or 3 times. And the first time he died, it was whatever. And then the second and third times, he just was jungling. And who cares? Like, he was still getting just as much farm. And I'm pretty sure Denny did actually have 200 CS by 20 minutes. And I know for a fact that he was tripling, like at 10 to 15, he was, I think at like 10 minutes, he was tripling Feda's CS and Deny. That's
Yeah.
Shadow. I mean, Shadow Fiend's a great answer to DK mid. I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, I mean, Xiaofin. It's just really nice to see a lot of more interesting heroes. But Navi did take this game. Was it convincing?
It was convincing.
Okay, so
They
Navi took it
did some
convincingly.
pretty big DS blink, SF blinks. Havos was diving tier 3 at like 12 minutes just by himself against 3 people.
Okay, so
And
it was convincing,
yeah,
and that's surprising because Mouse is a team who has been very good recently. So
it's a draft win.
I know that's why draft is just
It really
it's
is that important. I know it sounds silly, and we're sitting here with 2020 hindsight, but I'm pretty sure I was talking with my friends and maybe B-Ball for at the beginning of this game, and I said, this game's over, it's done. Like, games really do end at the 0-minute mark, guys.
and I hate to bring back Quantic and Rattlesnake, but
Those games were over at the 0-minute mark.
those games were over. They were completely done at the 0 minute mark. So let us know if you want to see more videos like this. We'll probably do a couple more in the end anyway. I really wanted to go for a VP draft one of these times, but I mean, it's depressing for me because they win the early game and then they suck mid game, and I get
I
sad.
know, they were doing so well, and then they just ran into a
Then I
wall
get
and
sad.
just kept running into it over and over, but oh
But
well.
maybe like a team like Fnac or Zant, a team that's just completely wonky. So that's going to be it for now. Thanks for watching. Please keep enjoying TI3. It's just been a ton of fun to watch so far, and we'll hope to see you next time. Thanks a lot, guys.